Close your eyes for a moment and imagine your breath slows, your body stills, and the world you once knew begins to fade. In those final moments, what do you see? Do you slip into darkness, or is there something beyond? A vast, endless light, a reunion with long-lost souls? Or do you awaken once more, reborn into another life, another story? For centuries, humanity has wrestled with the great mystery of death. Across cultures, religions, and scientific inquiries, different narratives have emerged, some promising an afterlife, others a cycle of rebirth, and some offering only silence. But what if we've barely scratched the surface of what happens when we die? In this journey, we will venture deep into the realms of ancient philosophies, near-death experiences, reincarnation stories, and the wisdom of indigenous cultures. Prepare to challenge your beliefs, open your mind, and step beyond the veil of the known. Long before modern science, ancient civilizations sought to understand what lay beyond death. For the Egyptians, life was but a prelude to the great beyond, a place where the heart was weighed against the feather of mad, determining one's fate in eternity. Their tombs, filled with treasures and inscriptions, were meant to guide souls safely into the afterlife. In the East, Hinduism and Buddhism introduced the idea of samsara, a cycle of birth, death, and rebirth that continues until one attains enlightenment. Every action, every decision creates ripples that shape one's next life, either lifting the soul higher or pulling it back into suffering. Even in the West, reincarnation was not always dismissed. The Greek philosopher Plato suggested that souls are born and reborn, carrying knowledge from past lives into new bodies. But perhaps the most intriguing insights come from indigenous traditions, where the dead do not simply vanish, they remain, watching, guiding, and sometimes even returning. The Aboriginal people of Australia believe in the dreaming, a timeless, spiritual realm where ancestors continue to exist. In Native American traditions, spirits can take on new forms, inhabiting animals or elements of nature. In many African tribal beliefs, the spirits of the departed remain deeply entwined with the living, influencing their journey. Could it be that death is not an ending, but merely a transition, one our ancestors understood far better than we do today? Imagine hovering above your own body, looking down as doctors struggle to revive you. The world feels distant, yet you are more alive than ever. A tunnel of light appears, and in it figures emerge. Some are strangers, others are long-lost loved ones. They welcome you, guide you, and as you reach out, suddenly, you are pulled back. This is the experience described by thousands who have been declared clinically dead, only to return. These near-death experiences, NDEs, have baffled scientists and skeptics alike. Dr. Raymond Moody, one of the leading researchers on NDEs, documented strikingly similar accounts across cultures. People describe intense feelings of peace encounters with luminous beings, and even reviews of their entire lives, reliving moments through the eyes of those they affected. But what is truly fascinating is how some return with knowledge they could not have possibly known. Some speak of conversations held outside their physical body. Others recall past events that are later verified as true. And yet, modern science remains cautious. Could these be mere hallucinations, a final trick of a dying brain? Or is consciousness something greater, something that transcends the physical body? If consciousness survives beyond the brain, could it also survive beyond death? If death is not the end, then what comes next? Could we be born again, carrying echoes of past lives? Some of the most compelling evidence for reincarnation comes from children young, innocent, and yet inexplicably aware of past lives they could not have known. Dr. Ian Stevenson, a psychiatrist at the University of Virginia, spent over 40 years studying thousands of cases where children claimed to remember previous lives. One boy, barely 3 years old, described in vivid detail the life of a World War II fighter pilot. He could name aircraft models, battle locations, and even his own name in that past life. His descriptions were later verified against historical records. Another case involved a young girl in India who insisted she had lived before, providing names of family members and events from her past existence. When researchers took her to the village she described, she identified people and places with shocking accuracy. Coincidence? Imagination? Or could it be that our souls carry memories, fragmented pieces of identities that persist beyond one lifetime? If reincarnation is real, what does that mean for who we are? Are we merely temporary vessels, or are we eternal beings, weaving through time in countless forms? While Western views often see death as an end, many indigenous cultures have long understood it as a passage to another world. For the Navajo, death is not to be feared, but understood. The spirit, or chindi, lingers for a time, sometimes influencing the living. In the Amazon, the Yanomami people believe that death is not natural, but caused by a spiritual force, one that pulls the soul into another existence. The Maori of New Zealand tell of souls journeying to a sacred place at the edge of the world, where they reunite with ancestors before continuing on. The Tibetan Book of the Dead describes a transitional state called the bardo, where the soul undergoes a series of trials before being reborn. In many of these traditions, the soul is seen not as an individual entity, but as part of a greater whole, a stream of consciousness that flows endlessly, shifting and changing, yet always connected. Could it be that the indigenous view holds the key to understanding what awaits us? That death is not a singular event, but a return to something much greater. And so, we arrive at the edge of the unknown, left with more questions than answers. What if death is not an ending, but a doorway? What if we have lived 1,000 lives before and will live 1,000 more? What if, in those final moments, we do not disappear, but simply wake up somewhere else? Perhaps the truth lies not in one single belief, but in the vast tapestry of stories, visions, and experiences that have spanned across time. So now I ask you, what do you believe happens after death? Do we dissolve into the universe, or are we reborn? Do we ascend to another plane, or does consciousness continue in ways we cannot yet comprehend? Share your thoughts in the comments. Let's explore this mystery together. If this journey has made you think, don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay with us for more explorations into the unknown. Until next time, keep questioning, keep wondering, and perhaps, just perhaps, the greatest journey of all begins only after this life ends.